You know, every single movie you watch, every show you stream, it's all trying to tell you something. And I don't just mean the story. To see what's really going on beneath the surface, you need a special set of tools. So today, let's unlock that toolkit together.
I mean, just think about your favorite TV show for a second. It's way more than just a story, right? It's a product, it's a reflection of the time it was made, and it's a message sent to a very specific audience. So how do you crack that code? Well, that is exactly what we're going to figure out right now.
All right, here's our game plan. First, we'll build your media analyst's toolkit. Then we'll put it to the test with a really cool case study about cops on screen. We'll compare how they're represented and the industries behind them. And finally, we'll connect all those dots to show you how this kind of thinking can make a huge difference.
Okay, first up, the toolkit itself. Now, in academic circles, this is called the theoretical framework, but honestly, let's just think of it as 4 essential lenses. Each one gives you a totally different but super powerful way to look at any media you come across.
And here they are, your 4 key tools. Media language looks at the how, the camera shots, the music, the editing. Representations explores the what, the people, the places, the ideas being shown on screen. Industries asks who made it and, crucially, why they made it. And finally, audiences looks at who it's for. Put them all together and you get the whole picture.
So, enough with the theory. Let's put this toolkit into practice. We're going to dig into 2 British TV dramas about law enforcement, but they were made 50 years apart. This is where it gets really interesting. In one corner, we have The Avengers from 1965. It's this stylish, kind of light-hearted spy thriller from the commercial channel ITV. And in the other corner, Cuffs from 2015, a gritty, realistic police procedural drama from the public broadcaster, the BBC. Same country, same general theme of cops, but believe me, they are worlds apart.
Okay, let's grab the representations lens from our toolkit. This is where we look at how these shows portray people and ideas. It's an absolutely fantastic way to see how a society's values have shifted over time. And let's start with a big one, gender.
So Emma Peel in The Avengers, she was this fascinating contradiction back in the 60s. On one hand, she was incredibly intelligent and capable, a huge step forward. But, as this analysis points out, she was also heavily objectified. And yet, that famous leather catsuit was a big part of it.
And the contrast with today is just stark. In 1965, the female lead's name, Emma Peel, was literally a pun on Man Appeal, and for all her skills, she was still the assistant. Fast forward 50 years to Cuffs, and the female officers are presented in a completely different light. They're in practical, masculinized uniforms, and they hold clear positions of authority. It's a really powerful reflection of a changing world.
And that difference is just as obvious when we look at diversity in general. The Avengers had an entirely white cast, which, to be fair, was pretty typical for the time. But compare that to Cuffs, which presents a police force that actually looks like modern multicultural Britain. It has a multicultural team, and even an openly gay main character whose sexuality is just part of who he is, not some major plot point.
All right, let's switch tools. Now we're looking through the industries and audiences' lenses. This helps us understand the machine behind the screen and how the way we watch TV has been totally transformed. Think about this. In 1965, a viewer had just 3 channels to choose from. 3! So you were pretty loyal because what else were you going to watch? By 2015, hundreds of channels, on-demand streaming, and this new thing called second screening, where you're watching TV while tweeting about it. It is a completely different universe.
Now, to really get a show like Cuffs, you have to understand the mission of the BBC. As a public service broadcaster, its goal isn't just to get eyeballs for advertisers, it's there to inform, educate, and entertain. Because it's funded by the public through a license fee, it has a legal duty to reflect that public in all its diversity.
Let's follow the money, because that's always revealing. In 1965, the ad-funded ITV could pour cash into big, spectacular, escapist shows like The Avengers. But in 2015, the publicly funded BBC had different pressures. Cuffs aired at 8 p.m. before The Watershed when more adult stuff is allowed, so it had to be suitable for a wider family audience. Plus, it had that legal duty to reflect diversity. See, the funding model almost always shapes the final product.
So we've used the toolkit, we've decoded the shows, but why does all this matter? Well, if you happen to be a student, this is the exact skill that turns a good answer into a great one.
Look, anyone can describe what happens in a show, that's the easy part. But explaining why it happens, connecting it to its social context, the industry that made it, and the audience it was for, that is the key to unlocking those top marks.
Think of it like a ladder. A basic analysis of the media language, that might get you 5 marks. It's a good start. Now, add in a smart discussion of representation. Show you get the deeper meaning, and you're climbing up towards 10 marks.
But when you bring it all together, the language, the representation, the industry, the audience, and the context, that's when you hit the top. That's when you're writing those 15-mark answers that really blow the examiners away.
And here is the absolute best part. This isn't just some boring academic exercise or history lesson. This toolkit is universal. You can apply these 4 lenses to literally any piece of media you see.
Take the Lego Movie. How did that become such a massive global hit? Well, the toolkit shows us exactly how. You can analyze its industry synergy, a film made to sell toys and video games. You can look at its audience, not just kids, but nostalgic adults too. You can even decode its representation of gender through a character like Wildstyle. And suddenly, it all just clicks into place.
So there you have it. From a black and white spy show to a giant CGI blockbuster, the tools are exactly the same. You now have the analyst's toolkit. The only question left is, what are you going to analyze next?